Welcome to Talking Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilot, the one, the only, Mr. Dom C. Dom, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, right guy?
Oh, dude, I missed you last week. Didn't get to hang out and talk a little victory after the Jets won 2 weeks ago. So we're kind of basically on another Victory Monday. We get 2 weeks in a row of the Jets not losing.
Not losing. That's a good thing, right? 2 weeks of not losing. Yeah, I'm just I'm happy that Sunday didn't suck. You know, I got to enjoy my Sunday, you know, this, that, and the other thing. I'm looking forward to the game Sunday against Cleveland, but the expectations are low. And we'll go from there. You know, I think the next exciting part of this Jets season is what's going to happen between now and 4 p.m. tomorrow. Does anything happen on the trade deadline? Or trade front, I should say.
So that's really where we're going to go. So boys and girls, as you pop into the chat, please hit that like button and also let us know some of your questions that you think, you know, what players do you think might get moved? What values do you want to see assigned to them? The biggest name, I think, on our list that people have been discussing has been Breece Hall, the Jets seeking a third-round pick, which seemingly implies that they're not really looking to move him. Connor Hughes had said that the rough value for Hall would be about a fifth-round pick is what teams were willing to potentially pay for Breece. So I guess we'll start off there. What do you make of the Breece Hall situation, and do you think that the Jets should retain him? Do you think they should be looking to move him? If so, what would be an acceptable value to get back for him?
Well, I guess the answer is what's the plan? You know, because what we've been told from the get-go, you know, from Aaron Glenn was that this team was going to win. You know, this team was ready to win. This team was going to win. We haven't seen many wins. We've seen one, not many at all. But, you know, so if you're going to, you know, if you're looking to win games, then I don't see the point in trading Breece Hall, you know. And if you're not going to trade him, I think you have to talk about either extending him or slapping the tag on him, one of the two, to work out some sort of extension. Because I think there's ways about that. But letting Breece just riding him out for the rest of this year and then letting him walk for nothing really doesn't make any sense. So I tend to lean on the idea that next year, Ryan, they're going to probably be in the hunt for a QB. Whether or not that QB starts from day one, I don't know. That's a different story. But, you know, hypothetical, let's say that quarterback does, or maybe not it's day one, maybe it's week 5, like Jackson Dart or something like that. The best support you can have is some veteran, you know, good veteran skill positions around him. So I think Breece Hall would complement or would be a good safety play and safety valve, you know, for a young quarterback to kind of help build the offense, especially since there's no other real true, you know, playmakers outside of Garrett Wilson on the offense. So, you know, I'm leaning towards keeping him for the long term. But not overpaying, you know?
Yeah, that's sort of where I fall as well. I think you definitely want to hold on to Breece in some capacity. I definitely am in the same line of thought with you as with many other Jet fans, thinking that we are going to have a new quarterback for next year, whether that quarterback starts at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, or maybe towards the back half, depending on how this next season goes. I think it would be incredibly foolish to let go of one of your best weapons in a year you're trying to really, you know, install a young quarterback. I think it just makes all the sense in the world to retain him. Like you said, the franchise tag, which should be about $14.1 million, is what Over the Cap is projecting it to be at. The age is right there. I was taking a look. I made a video on this over the weekend, and it got me all sorts of like wound up. Like haven't been wound up in a while, but I've been very much on board with the making sure we retain Breece. So Breece is 24 years old. Some of the best running backs in the league, like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, all guys that are 29 plus years old, which means at roughly you're looking 4 to 5 potentially good years, and in Derrick Henry's case, 32 years old, so potentially even more years of productive running back play. And when you look at the touches, Breece is right on track with all those guys as far as touches goes. He has 802 right now for through 3.5 seasons right now. Figure he's on pace for about 950 if he continues on the track that he's on right now. Saquon through his first 4 years, 849. Christian McCaffrey, 1,002. Derrick Henry, 861. Alvin Kamara, 998. So he's really like in the same wheelhouse as far as the amount of usage that he's getting. And then when you look at the money side of things, 18 of the top 20 highest paid running backs are older than Breece Hall. The only two that are not paid, the only two that are younger than Breece Hall are Bijan Robinson and Ashton Genty, who were just drafted. So like there is plenty of room for Breece to really like, continue to grow with this team. Not to mention, this doesn't feel like a Le'Veon Bell sort of situation where Bell has had a ton of carries and touches and everything, and it was almost abusive yards at that point. And it's not him switching teams. Like Breece is already on this team, and we know that he can operate within this offense. And we think a lot of the hamstrings for us are the quarterback play, the fact that we never play with a lead, so we're not really running the ball when you'd want to. Now, granted, that is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because when you are in garbage time, there's going to be some extra yardage that does get added onto that. So there is that little bit of nuance there. But we're going to have $80-ish million in salary cap space for next year. The Jets are not going to be attracting top talent. So for me, rather than going out and overpaying someone else's free agent to come here, I'd rather retain the guy that's already in-house. Ideally on like a 3-year contract, I think would be awesome. Something that, around the Alvin Kamara-ish range, like $10 to $12 million a year, I think I'm totally fine with. I'm not looking at like Saquon Barkley, $20 million a year or anything like that. You look at the two tags, if you were to tag him in consecutive years, you're looking at $14.1 million, and I think it's like $17 million, which is like 120% of what he got the year prior. So if you wanted to figure that as like maybe like the baseline as far as like, if you really wanted to leverage us. But I think it, like you said, it would be foolish to move on from Breece.
Well, I will say this. I think if you tag him, it gives you, you don't have to pay him 14-1 next year. It just buys you more time to negotiate some sort of long-term deal. Now, maybe it's a 2-year deal, maybe that but I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of, his age and his skill set can be in line with where we're going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, where, like it or not, we're rebuilding. You're going to bring in a new quarterback. You brought in a new head coach and GM last year, and, they're cleaning house. There's going to be, 30 some odd free agents, expiring contracts. So call it what you want. This is a rebuild. Maybe not as deep to the studs like Joe Douglas did, because, we signed a Sherwood, we signed a Sauce, we signed a Garrett. We have some other pieces here and there. But it's a rebuild nonetheless. And I think Breece can fit in that timeline with where you want to go, because just say, all right, realistically, I don't know if this is the case, so don't shoot me, Jets fans, but just say, all right, we're really 3 years away. Like, we're expecting our peak to be 3 years from now. All right. Breece will only be 27 years old. You know what I mean? So he'll still have some legs, under him. And you're right. He hasn't been, the injury that he suffered and so on and so forth. So he hasn't been, they haven't run the wheels off him here in the pros. They did in college, they rode him pretty hard in college, but he's still got some tread on the tires. And I just think, like I said, if the plan is to bring in a young quarterback and try to develop him, what's better, what easier way to develop a good quarterback than to give him as many skill positions kind of settled and set already? You're going to have enough to replace and replenish in both terms of starters, especially on defense, and backups on both sides. Like, why take another guy out of the equation?
Yeah, and not to mention, like, whatever pick you would be getting back for Breece anyway, you're probably going to wind up spending that pick on trying to find a running back that hopefully is as good as Breece regardless.
Yeah.
And the chances of you hitting on him, as much as people want to say, oh, you could get an undrafted free agent or you get a mid to late round pick as a running back, those are all true statements. But when you have a guy in-house that's proven, like, it is very tough to find that caliber of player there. And you know what? When you look at like the roster building standpoint, I think there's something to be said for like the leadership that Breece brings, the familiarity that the rest of the players have with him in the locker room. When you start pulling away little pieces and relationships and things like that, I think that comes into play and with the chemistry of the locker room. Now, if Breece is a malcontent and he doesn't want to be here and he's made it known, like, okay, maybe you franchise tag him for a year and then it is what it is and you let him walk. I think the development of the quarterback is so much more important than anything else that you could possibly do. And I'll be honest, if the Jets have to sacrifice a little bit of like the cash that we'd be spending on the defensive side of the ball because we just want to make like a Cincinnati Bengals-esque offense for a few years' time while the quarterback figures it out, I'm okay with that. I've waited so long and watched so much terrible quarterback play that like I could give two shits about the defense right now. And we've got enough young guys that like, you know what, I'm entertained. Like, I'd much rather see like the Bears and fucking Bengals this past weekend, 40+ points per team, and be entertained the entire time than watch a 13-point stinker that we've now gotten twice. That was, 3 weeks ago. So I think we're kind of all-ish on that same, I think we're all in that same mindset. Is there like is there a value that you would be like you would be all right moving him? Like, is a third round pick, would that like do it for you if someone offered that up? Is that enough? Because you're looking probably a playoff team. It's going to be a back half of the third round then.
I mean, you really have to. You really got to have a conversation if it's third round pick. You really have to have a conversation with all due parties if it's third round pick. I don't think you're going to get any more than that, but I don't know if I'd be willing to take less than that. I think that's a good. I'd probably do it for a third round pick, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'd do it for a day 3 pick.
I can understand like the want at that point because you're getting a 4-year contractually controlled player. You're saving, let's call it $12 million a year on Breece. You're now paying a rookie probably somewhere along the lines of like $3 million a year. So there is some value there. There's like a net $9 million that could be used on other players, contractual control and whatnot. Now, moving off the Breece Hall side of things, we do have Quinnen Williams, Quincy Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. Do you think any of these players could potentially be moved?
Could any of these players be moved? Yes. Which ones I think will be moved? I think Quincy.
Like that.
Yeah, I think Quincy's the one because we had talked about like this time frame, right? I don't think Quincy's going to be in play with this rebuild. Like sorry, I gotta sneeze, Ryan. Excuse me.
No, that is all right.
I don't think Quincy's lines up with this with this timeline. Going to be 30 already, I believe. It's going to be 31. You sign him for what, 2-3 years. You hope that you ride him out. He's already going to probably be on the decline. So he's the one, and of the two defensive ends, I think it's tough. I don't know if you're going to pay both of them, right? So could it make sense to get rid of one? Yes, it absolutely could. But we are just so paper thin right now at that position, though. It's a hard pill to swallow. I guess you got to decide which one, like where you stand. Like, what's the focus? What is going to make the Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes defense, more formidable for the next 2 to 3 years? Because frankly, both guys, McDonald and JJ, are just about the same age, right? They were both 24-year-old rookies. So maybe JJ's got a couple months on Will McDonald, so on and so forth, a little bit older. But they're different stylistically. Will McDonald or JJ is more of your stout, edge setter. He's going to, play with a lot of gumption, play with a lot of power. he'll fall into some secondary sacks. I don't think he's ever going to be a double-digit sack guy. But a guy that can be on the field all 3 downs. Or on the flip side, I think McDonald of the two is the one that can you can bet on will win his one-on-one more. He's the true pass rusher. I think he might be more Bryce Huff, and that be that situational 50% player, situational pass rusher. Doesn't bode well against the run. So it really just depends on which stylistically, which one you think. And, I think if the goal is not to sign both of them long-term, then you figure out which one of the styles fits you best for the next 3 years. Like which one is the easier replacement? If you're looking at next year's draft, I would say keep Will McDonald and cut bait with Jermaine Johnson, because I think you'll find a lot of those stronger, bigger, edge setting type defensive ends than you do those bendy, twitchy, double-digit sack kind of guys.
I guess, do you think from signing someone long term, it could happen this offseason? It could happen the offseason after this. The Jets have the franchise tag. Now, you don't really want to use the franchise tag on an edge rusher because their contracts are just getting so high. They're getting
it's going to be $33 million, I think, right? Am I wrong on that?
I think you're probably right on that. I mean, the top guys are getting north of 40 at this point, and I think the franchise tag is the 5-year average of the top 5 at the position. So 33 sounds like it's probably, about right. Now you do have Will McDonald for 2 more years. You have JJ under contract for 1 more year. So if you were to sign one of them, the extension for JJ could be done in a similar-ish capacity to Sauce and Garrett. I don't think Jermaine, because of the injuries, will realistically command those wild numbers of $30 million a year. Where will
he command north of 20 is the question.
I don't know. I'm really not sure. I don't know if I have a really good comp on who he would be like. I'm gonna pull up Over the Cap now just to take a.
We're talking JJ now, right?
We're talking JJ.
If the average of
so Gregory Rousseau 4 years, 80 million, 20 million a year. Is that ish on par?
I think Rousseau's better.
Okay,
but I think you're in the wheelhouse there. I think that he's on that tier, but I think Rousseau's better.
Karlaftis is getting 22. Van Ginkel's getting 23. Van Ginkel's a lot older. I don't think he's in that tier necessarily. Could he be in the Highsmith, Chase Young? Is he in that kind of tier? Upper teens to.
So what about 20? 3 for 54? A 3-year extension, 54, and you want to guarantee half of it.
I would do that because that 54 would put him at, what is that? 18 million a year? Yeah. I'm fine with that. I think he's a player that's going to be on the field all the time. I do think he's trending up, so maybe you build in some type of incentives hey, look, you're our guy. We're on board with you. And then with Will McDonald, you have time to figure it out. There's nothing that says we have to pay all our players as they're going into their 4th year or anything like that. We did it with Sauce and Garrett, but, you almost can't set that standard all the time. These guys clearly have, all pros to their names in Sauce, and Garrett is just another level type of player. So I would do the 3 years, 54. I think that makes a lot of sense for JJ.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. And listen, if you wanted to, you could do 3 years, 54 extension on top of his 5th year extension. Right? That way you're holding him through the age. Well, I guess he's there through age 30.
Let's see.
Unless you geared it properly, so you had an out early.
So right now in his 25th, 2025 year, they're saying it's his he's 26 years old. I can't see his actual birthday, if he's actually that or if he's going to turn 26. But let's say it's a 3-year extension, and he gets his 5th year option plus the 3 years.
27.
Yeah, 27, 28,
29,
29, 30. And that's if you keep him for all 4 years. that you could always, restructure or figure something out. But yeah, I think that would make a ton of sense. I really do. And Will McDonald, if he's playing half the time like a Bryce Huff, I really like the player, but I don't know if that's the player you pay, north of $30 million a year to potentially.
Well, you know who doesn't pay him that is Joe Douglas. Obviously, Joe Douglas let him walk for $16 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
That he got from Philadelphia. So,
so I'm interested to see is the pedigree of Will McDonald, because he was a first-round pick, different than the pedigree of a Bryce Huff, who was an undrafted free agent, and how does that dynamic play into their contractual values and what other teams think of them? For whatever reason, I'm just not super high on Will McDonald. I wasn't, I'll be honest, I wasn't crazy about the draft pick at the time. You guys saw all of our reactions on draft day. I like the player, and I'm pulling for him and everything, but the situational nature of his style of plays is irritating for as much money as you'd probably have to pay him later on. Now, when we look at guys like maybe like a Quinnen Williams, I know we've talked about the money, guaranteed money being up at the end of this year and needing to rework his contract. How do you think that sort of plays into any conversations, or do you think maybe that could be an off-season type thing?
I think Quinnen is here on this roster through this year, but I think there's strong sentiment to move him in the offseason. I really do. Not that I would like to see it. Like I said, I like Quinnen Williams. I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's an elite player. And I'm not being a hater. I think that's fair to say. I think he's very good. I don't know if he's elite. And it seems that what he's being asked to do in Wilkes' defense, in really maintaining, holding gap integrity and not pressing forward and just, being let loose like he was under Saleh. Like, are we paying a guy $25 million to kind of sit home, play really good against the run and two gap? No. You could pay Harrison Phillips $7 million to do that, and Juwan Bowers, whatever his name is,
Briggs.
Deron Briggs. You can pay him another $5 or $6 or $7 million to do that. I don't know if you need to pay a $25 million Quinnen Williams to do that. Plus, Quinnen's got no guaranteed money left on his contract after this year. So he's going to want to get paid. So I really think that this year is probably the last we'll see of Quinnen Williams in the Jets uniform.
Yeah, I think having Quincy kind of potentially on his way out as well, it's sort of just a nice time frame to be like, hey,
and
Quinn,
listen,
you've been a great Jet. There's no ill will at all. It's
no
like, hey,
ill will, no animosity. Yeah, listen, go get, you're going to be 29 years old. Go get yours, buddy. You don't want to be part of another rebuild. No hard feelings though. Like I think that he'll be, if he gets moved, he'll go down as a great Jet. Came to work, shut his mouth. Was very good. Don't know if he was ever elite, but very, very good.
You think he's top 5 at his position on a semi-consistent basis?
I think he was the year leading into his contract. I don't think he's been top 5. I don't think he's top 5 right now. I can name 5 defensive tackles better than him, probably. Or more effective. I'm not going to say better. I'm going to say more effective.
Yeah, and I think some of that also comes into play with like how the Jets' overall performances have been and teams being able to run on us a bit more because, they have leads on us. So there's certain things that happen throughout a game that may put him in a disadvantage as far as like having an impact on the game. I mean, I will forever remember the stiff arm he did of Tyreek Hill.
Oh yeah,
into the ground,
for sure, dude.
Burying him, like just a magical, play at the time of that. Now, we talked a little bit about the deadline. I see, and NYJ comes in. Looks like he's saying, where's my comments? Boom. Here we go. NYJ saying Pua was better than Quinnen. I disagree.
I would disagree on that one too, but
So we've talked about the trade deadline. I don't think there's any players that we're missing that could be traded out. Do you think there's any way the Jets are bringing in additional players? We did just add the wide receiver from blanking on it right now from Philadelphia.
John Mechie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I think that came out a while ago that they
I don't think we've talked about it, right? Like that was between our last show and now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've also missed a couple weeks because of the surgery.
Right.
But yeah, I think they said, I mean, at least it was announced that they'd be open to taking on some younger, cost-controlled contracts if the situation deemed right. Just like they did with Briggs, just like they did with Brownlee Jr. Yep, and just like they're doing with Mechie now. I don't think that that's a bad idea. I could see them maybe going along the offensive line, getting some nice young depth, even though they might not start or whatnot. At least, you're not going to have an offensive line next year. For as much as we hammered home the offensive line this year, and I think he did a great job with Membo and Tippmann at guard, and Josh Myers has been great for what he was, a $2 million player. And Simpson, Simpson and AVT are probably gone. Maybe you keep one of them, maybe not. But it's not that you have to. It's not even that you worry about, Ryan. There's no depth on that team. Every single one of our backup linemen are gone. So you got to start bringing some guys in.
What do you think of? Do you think they bring back Myers? I'd like to see him come back. I feel like he's cheap. He should be cheap enough, I would think.
It depends what they do at the position, right? What if they? Well, I'll throw a name out at you. What if they went and acquired or kicked the tires on somebody who's fallen out of love over there in Las Vegas, and they brought back JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson?
I would love to see that. I would be on board. He was a big fan for
22-year-old kid, doesn't fit the scheme, doesn't fit the system, lost his starting job. I'll bring him and put him at center and let Tippmann stay at guard. Now, if they go and spend money? What if that's their big free agent acquisition? Is another offensive lineman?
Is he a free agent? Or it would have to be a trade, I think, right?
No, for JPJ it would be a trade. But I'm just saying, if it's not him, what if they go and sign Cushenberry, who was a Muji draft pick when he was in Denver, who supposedly will get cut this year?
That's interesting. I'm looking at the free agent centers. I guess I should add in right guard and left guard as well. If I'm looking for younger guys, we'll go by percentage of snap. I feel like that's a good way to look at that. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some interesting players out there.
Tyler Linderbaum?
I mean, I don't think he's going to shake free, but yeah.
Technically, he's a free agent.
That is true. That would be a wild get if you could get him. Wouldn't his 5th year option, did they not exercise his 5th year option? Is that how that went?
No, they did. It's done, right?
Is it really? Because he was the same year as
Zach
Garrett Wilson. No, he was the same year as Linderbaum was definitely the same year as Garrett Wilson. They must have declined it. Because
you know what? Yes, maybe
he's
they
the same year as not Hutchinson, as
You're absolutely right, and they probably did decline it because it doesn't make sense to pay a center that much money.
Yeah, because it's an offensive lineman.
It's an offensive line. It's an offensive line thing. Correct. So it goes by the average of the highest 5 offensive left tackle contracts, which is astronomical. So you're right about that.
The top centers right now, Creed Humphrey gets $18 million a year. So you'd probably be looking around that ballpark. It's only, so there's 2 guys. There's Juergens from the Eagles getting 17, Humphrey getting 18. Everyone else is, 14, 12, 5, 12, 10. So I would imagine for the Jets to attract, the top center here would probably be a pretty penny. I like JPJ though. I think that would be a lot of,
fun.
That would be that's the type of swing I like. I like the Briggs signing or trade. I like the Brownlee trade. Those almost using a late round pick to pseudo draft a young player with a year of NFL experience, like it just makes all the sense in the world.
And Las Vegas, if you need somebody in return, you might be able to, like, twist my arm enough to include Michael Clemens in the deal. I'd be happy to do that.
I'll throw him in there. Why not? I wonder what.
Now, listen, I mean, I'm just shooting names off the top of my head. JPJ, you might call and Las Vegas says, no, we're not trading JPJ. You're crazy. Mm-hmm. But I know that he did fall out of favor in. He lost his starting job. I know he started last week at right guard because one of their starting guards got hurt. So, but guys like that who might be out of favor, regimes changed or just are down years, Brian Thomas Jr., down year. Mm-hmm. Maybe Jacksonville wants to move on. Who knows?
So another receiver that was brought up in the chat, Rico, is saying that Connor Rogers and Trevor Sikkema were talking about Adonai Mitchell.
Adonai Mitchell, yes.
Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah,
he'll have 2 years left on his deal after the season, not currently.
A.D. Mitchell was one of my favorite prospects. Yeah, he was a second-round pick. He was one of my favorite prospects in that draft class. All the talent in the world, don't know if he's got it all together upstairs. I
haven't followed him. I haven't followed him since he's gotten into the NFL.
He hasn't done much. Couple bonehead, plays. He had one of those drop the ball before the goal line kind of situation that Malachi Corley had, and I don't think he's played very much since.
What do you think it would cost to get him in a trade? Mid to late round pick? I mean, if he was a second round pick, call it a fourth, fifth rounder, maybe?
Fifth rounder will probably get it done.
I feel like that's one I would take a gamble on. He's so young. It kills me because I hated Malachi Corley for dropping the football before the goal line. But I liked Mitchell coming out of college more than I liked Corley coming out of college.
Oh, so me too.
There's that.
Me too.
That little piece of it.
Yep.
Brian Thomas Jr. I think would be a great swing. I just think he's going to be a little more valuable because of last year's stats.
And that might be a longer shot than an A.D. Mitchell type. Yes, for sure.
Dude, the Jaguars are a super funky team. Super funky team. Like their record does not. Your record is what you are, but that record does not scream to me, or that team does not scream to me that record. I think they have 2 losses on the season, and they took the Raiders all the way down to a 2-point conversion at the end of overtime to win. I don't know. Any other players out there that you might have an eye on, that might potentially be moved? Receiver's an interesting one because everyone knows we need a number 2 wide receiver. And I would think a lot of people are going to mock us receiver in the second round.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I think a guy like Alec Pierce, also from the Colts, would be perfect. But I don't think the Jets are going to bring in a guy on an expiring contract. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you can. I think the offensive line makes sense if you're going to try to go young, like the Briggs deal or like the deal for Brownlee. I think the offensive line makes sense. I think the safety room makes sense, especially now with Cisco out for the year. And yeah, I mean, anywhere on the defense. I mean, you can always get younger on the defense. So
I always look at our former coaches. So guys like Saleh, guys like Ulbrich, are there players from their defense or guys that they've drafted that might make sense to bring on to their new teams that, maybe it's not a draft pick we're getting, but we're getting one of those, cost-controlled type players. Anyone on our team that sort of resonates with you from...
It fit with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
I guess everyone would sort of be the correct answer. That's a silly question.
No, I mean, we talk about Quincy, right? Mm-hmm. Quincy could fit both spots. I mean, I think both teams could use a linebacker. Mm-hmm. I think the defensive ends, especially San Francisco, I mean, they're running on like, injury central over there. So I don't know how much, how much run they're going to get out of the guys now. I mean, they've already lost their top 2 defensive ends to injury for the season.
AMD in the chat says 49ers lost Michael Williams yesterday to an ACL. Maybe they'll take Clemens off our hands.
I mean, I think that's
what
wishful thinking.
I was going to say that would be a hell of an ask for someone to do. If Michael Clemens gets traded for anything, I would I'm not going to say I'd eat my hat because I don't know if I could find that hat again, but I'd be floored. I would be kissing the ground that Muji walked on if he could find a way to get Clemens off this team. NYJ comes in and says, this team has me so bitter to the point where I'm tired of seeing most of these players play and I could care less. Trade Q, trade Breece, trade Woody. I'm a Jet till the day I die. So I have a feeling NYJ might be that kid from the TikTok or the short that says I hate this team, but I'm always going to be a Jet fan. I hate this team. I know I sympathize with you, dude, because I very much do not want, I don't care. I don't care for the most part. Breece is a player I really do care about, though.
It comes to a point I to this super chat, these guys, I hate to use this word because it sounds derogatory in this sense, but they're losers, man. That's all they've done. All this core group of guys, all they've done is lose. And at some point, you have to rid yourself of all that luck, which is all bad, Which is why I said I'd be okay. I might not want to move him right now because I don't think the value is good, but I might be okay with getting rid of Quinn in the offseason. Great Jet, thank you for your service, but what did you bring us? What have we done with Quinn and Williams here? Not much. Is it Quinn's fault? Not all. Did he play a part in it? He sure did.
And you know what? If you can get I would love to get a late first for Quinn, but if you get a higher end second for a team maybe it's Baltimore or something like that.
I think in the offseason I think you'll be able to get more. Because there's not a lot of guaranteed money on that extension. So if you find a team that wants to take them and work out a long-term deal with them, you might be able to get, just say, a second and a third or a first and a fifth or something like that. I don't know.
Well, Dom, I know we're getting to the end of your time here. So any last words you want to say to the people out there?
Keep your fingers crossed that the Jets that we want to be here and want to build around are still here at 4 p.m. tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Muji's real or if he's just AI. And it's Aaron Glenn that's calling the shots.
Dom,
just don't ask Glenn. Don't ask Glenn about the who's going to play quarterback.
Oh, we didn't even get into that. I'm sure I'll talk to the chat about that and their thoughts on everything.
Yeah.
Dom, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. And make sure you check out Dom every Monday here and check out his articles and follow his Twitter as well. Dom, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Peace. All right. Boys and girls, before I go too much further, I do just want to acknowledge one of the sponsors of the channel. I don't know about you guys, but one of my biggest pet peeves when buying sports tickets is hidden fees. Why can't the price I see actually be the price I pay? If only there was an app where fees didn't exist. That's why I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, TickPick. With over 20 million downloads, TickPick has you covered. NFL, NBA, concerts, festivals, you name it, they've got it. TickPick gives you the lowest prices, guaranteed, no fees. What you see is what you pay. And of course, I have a promo code for you guys. You can use code HMA for $20 off your first set of tickets at TickPick with purchase of more than $100. That's $20 off any tickets with promo code HMA. Make sure you click the link in the description, download the app, have the code automatically added to your account so you could use it later. Thank you so much, TickPick. Boys and girls, I'm going to go to the comment section and I want to hear from you guys. You can throw your comments in there. Thoughts of the Jets. We could go any which direction. Doesn't have to be trade deadline stuff. Could be just regular Jet stuff. What do you think the starting quarterback should be? What are your thoughts on Jets-Browns coming up? A whole lot of stuff to get into. Let's see. Radimus says trading Breece would be a very Jets thing to do. Yes, it would. I feel like that would be the epitome of a Jets move. Let's see. Where was I on here? Safik says trade Lazard for a diaper. I would trade him for anything we could get. I would be very much on board with this. Breece needs another Jahmyr Gibbs-like player. I mean, I would love to see Breece back there with a fully healthy Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I think the three of them can be a perfectly good stable. He also says trade both Will McDonald. Trade both. I mean, all three, Will McDonald and Johnson and Williams. I really don't want to trade Jermaine. And I think that's part of me is just sort of stuck on my my 2022 draft class. I very much wanted, I would have taken Jermaine Johnson at 4 overall. And then I would have taken him at 10 overall. And then I would have, was over the moon when we took him at the back end of the first. So I want to see JJ stay. I think he's poised for greatness. I'm on board with Williams. I think Will McDonald, I might wait on unless I got like a deal good enough to move him. But I do think, like Dom was mentioning, I think Quinnen could be on his way out this offseason. Tim says keeping Breece would be good, but does he want to be here? Now, we saw the one Instagram post that he had that sort of alluded to, free Breece, and, people took that as, hey, I want to be traded, I want to be here. I don't think that was necessarily what he's saying. I think it's like, hey, I could do a lot more, give me the touches, I think or give me the looks is more so what he was trying to say. Because I think earlier, it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks earlier, or it might have been a little bit more than that, talking about how he wanted to be a Jet. Now that could just be player speak, coach speak sort of stuff, just being positive because that's the team you're on. But I wouldn't give Breece the opportunity to leave. I would say, look, we're gonna plan to franchise tag you at the very least, and we're gonna work out a long-term deal. And if you don't want to be here, you're gonna be here on the franchise tag for a year. So don't go selling your house. Harlan says, no reason to overpay a player to come to the Jets. I completely agree. And that's talking about our season of our off-season financials and the amount of cap space we're going to have. 100% we should pay our internal guys, not the outside stuff. Ruben doesn't think Breece is coming back. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Daniel. Good to see you in here. Antonio says, breaking news. Jets ended up trading nobody. I guess it's probably more likely than not. Jets have a new quarterback this season, Fields. He's under contract for next year, too. When the Jets are on the board, there may not be a quarterback they like. So right now, the Jets, it's a little tough because not everyone has finished their buys yet. Technically, if the Jets had played and lost, we would still be in that number 2 spot. We are currently sitting number 3. The Saints and Titans are right in front of us because they both have 8 losses and have not had their bye week, and the Jets are sitting at 7 losses. I do think the Jets are going to end up with a top 3 pick. I don't know if we're going to get the number 1 overall. It'd be really nice to be able to just get Mendoza and then sort of like feel comfortable that you have a high floor guy that's on one of the best teams in the country right now. That would be my direction. Now, as far as other players, you got to kind of hope some other players come out. I think one thing that is working in the Jets' favor for next year is that Drew Outlaw, screwed up. Drew Outlaw should have come out last year when he would have been a first-round pick instead of going back to school. So guys like Ty Simpson, guys like Moore, who might feel like, I could go back to school, try to win a championship, or I could go to the pros. If these guys are considered a first-round pick, like a top half of the first-round pick, they would be absolutely foolish not to come out. So I like all 3 of those guys, Mendoza, Simpson, Moore. I really like John Mateer. I'm a big Mateer guy. I think you might be able to get him in the second round or back half of the first round. I'm a big fan. Lenore Sellers, while there's still some processing concerns and maybe he's not as fully developed or whatever, I do like Lenore Sellers a lot. I would be down with bringing him in. Like there's enough players that could potentially fall to the back half of the first round, or even like us coming up from the second round up into the first to go get a guy at the back half, kind of like what the Giants did with Jackson Dart. I would be cool with doing that too. Like if you wanted to, if you didn't feel the value was there because the Jets maybe won like 4 games or something like that towards the end of the schedule, and now we're picking in the 8 to 12 range, which I think is probably asking a little bit, too much. I think we're gonna have a good quarterback sitting there for us for the Jets. So I'm not overly concerned. I know it's hard to find good caliber players, but it's even harder to find good caliber players you win with. Yeah, a lot of it comes with the quarterback too and the coaching, and I feel like we've been lacking in both of them. Even Glenn this year, I don't think has done a very good job coaching. Now the players do seem to be playing hard for him, so there's some degree of sentiment to that, but you got to get the quarterback, and we just haven't had it. Antonio, honestly, it's kind of dumb the Jets trading Breece Hall when they need him. Breece Hall did win that Bengals game for the Jets, and if Braylon Allen didn't get hurt, if Braylon Allen didn't get hurt, then trade Breece. Yeah, I think with Allen's injury and the MCL and everything, you're in a situation where you just don't know how healthy he's going to be for next year. So at the very least, franchise tag Breece, give yourself an entire calendar year to find his replacement. If you can't work out a long-term deal, I'm still very much on the let's sign Breece for a longer-term, 3-year deal type thing, 4-year deal that could be a 3-year deal. I think the age is just fine. Gangrene wants to keep JJ. Steve V says time to cancel YouTube TV because the contract dispute. Yeah, I actually backed out of YouTube TV about, I think it was in February or so, or whenever they raised the prices last. Last time they raised the prices, I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. It's a great, like absolutely great, app that they have and everything, but it's just gotten too expensive, and I don't watch enough cable. I just watch, sports and stuff. So I find other ways to watch. We paid for NFL Sunday Ticket and now can't watch Monday Night Football. Crazy. I'm surprised you can't watch. Does Sunday Ticket's not Monday though, right? Like, isn't Sunday Ticket just the out of market games? Or am I wrong on that? I've never had Sunday Ticket, or I guess I've had it but just never really needed it because I've just watched other games passively. I'll be like, according to YouTube, Monday ain't Sunday. Mark says, keeping McDonald over JJ is supremely stupid. Let's keep the subpar run defender over the more complete player. Makes sense. Is McDonald a more complete player than JJ? That doesn't seem like that jives, Mark. McDonald only... Okay, let me look up percentage of snaps. I don't view McDonald as a more complete player right now. I would view him as the better pass rusher for sure. But I think JJ could definitely be very good. Snap counts. So yeah, Will McDonald, the most he's played was last year at 66% of the snaps. Right now he's playing 60% of the snaps. And then let's see what Jermaine Johnson plays. So right now, Jermaine Johnson's playing 71% of the snaps. In years past, his high was 66. That was 2 years ago. But I think he would have had more last year. I don't know if they're basing it on the amount of games he played. He played 59%. Well, it had to be 59% because he only played 2 games. So he's playing much more now than he was. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I shouldn't be liking JJ as much as I do. But I like him. Herrera House. Insane to see people would keep Will over JJ. Go says Will McDonald sucks. I'm not. I don't think he sucks. I think he could provide a better return on a trade than Jermaine Johnson could, and I think Jermaine Johnson's the more complete player. Mark says he's not a beast. The man is routinely abused in the run game and hasn't done much this year in the rush game. I don't know what beast you're seeing. Which one? Hold on. Let's see. Bad take. Will's a beast. I think on Will. He's a beast. So maybe Mark agrees with me. Keeping Will McDonald. Oh, I read that wrong. Sorry. Keeping Will McDonald over JJ is supremely stupid. I read that backwards. That makes way more sense. Okay. Whew. Glad I ironed that out in my head. Tim, winning takes so far would move both Williamses and one of the edges for a fair offer. Yeah, I think Quincy's the one player I think could really move. I think everyone else will probably wait until the offseason to do. Radimus, Milk Thumbs. Where's my Milk Thumbs button? I don't know if I have a Milk Thumbs button right now. Switching stuff on my screen over here.
Milk Thumbs.
I don't have that queued up on my my little stream deck here. Most of Quinnen's guarantees got paid up front, right? Yes. Let me pull up Quinnen's contract right now. I think he's got like $10 million or so next year. $5 million in guarantees for 2026. So he's got no guaranteed money left. He's going to be a $26 million cap hit next year, 26.5, and then he's got a $30 million cap hit the year after that, but he's got no guaranteed money. So the contract is pretty favorable. It's definitely the time you want to restructure him or trade him. And I just think the trade makes a lot of sense given our time frame. Let him go win somewhere that he wants to be. And like I said, there's no hard feelings there. Jets Worldwide. Dom was a little congested. Have a shot of hot sauce. That'll clear your nose right up. You know what I bought? I got some smelling salts. I have a little thing I keep in my golf bag just to like wake me up. And that'll clear your sinuses up real fast. Probably not the ideal use case for it, but I've liked it. The Raiders trading JPJ because he doesn't fit the scheme for a 75-year-old coach would be sports malpractice. Is that... Who's their OC? Let's see. Raiders OC. Chip Kelly's their offensive coordinator. Chip Kelly's young. Like, even if Pete Carroll's not there, you got to think Chip Kelly would hang around. So I feel like I'd be pretty surprised if he's not going to fit Kelly's system, unless they're looking to clean house. It might make sense to move JPJ right now. I would be on board with this. Rico says, like you said, cost control guys that's young seems to be the odd man out in Indy. Talking about A.D. Mitchell. Yeah, the cost controlled guys that have fallen out of favor. Like, I like the idea of guys interviewing for the Jets while on another team. I'll take a year less of contractual control. Oh man, is this a touchdown for the Cowboys? Wow, block punt. Very cool. But yeah, I'm good for looking at guys that like are underperforming. Beggars can't be choosers. We should be looking for low hanging fruit. Guys like, you know, when you're the guy at the bar, you're maybe not the best looking guy. You got a little bit of a beer belly. Maybe your personality's, a solid 4 out of 10. You know, maybe you shouldn't be trying for the dimes at the bar. Maybe you gotta work your way. We used to call it. I had one buddy in college, and we would just he knew what level of girl he was able to attract, but he'd shoot for the stars. He'd shoot for the moon. So we called it working his way down the bar skank ladders. So he'd go like he's shooting for a 10 to start. He'd work his way down. He'd eventually end up with like a 2 on the list. And he'd be proud of himself. You know what? Give him a noogie and send him on his way. But man, that was like that's where we're the Jets. We are my buddy from college version of a football team, and we should be looking for the guys that maybe there's some headaches out there. Let's just get some talent in here. I don't think it's like the last few years where we were like, oh, going for a Super Bowl and, maybe a little bit more concerned with the locker room side of things. Get yourself a nice 2. I think they used to call it, what, a 10 at 2 and a 2 at 10? Not ideal. Not ideal, but it's okay. Beer goggles. Poor guy. Dallas just scored on a block punt. Yep. Beefy saying musical chairs on the Titanic, I think is the reference you're getting at. Yeah, you know what? It kind of is. Jets Roll Live. I think Brett Favre is part owner of TickPick. I did not know that. I think I'd know that, but I don't. Steven says, I'm hoping the Browns grades trades Garrett, we keep our core intact, the core being Breece, JJ, Garrett, Sauce, Will McDonald, and anyone else up for grabs with the best offer. So you're hoping the Browns trade Myles Garrett before we play them. I'll be honest, I'm not actively like rooting for losses, but the Browns game is kind of one that would be nice to lose. Like I don't necessarily want to give a team that could be gunning for a quarterback in front of us the opportunity to get in front of us. So like when I'm looking at the schedule, I'm looking at like the Saints, I'm looking at the Browns, I'm looking at the Dolphins. Those are the games that would be a little bit nicer to let slip away. Lazard has more value than Max Mitchell, but Max Mitchell shouldn't be on the team either. I think Lazard could have value with the right team. Mainly like the Steelers. Like if you were to say like, hey, we'll give you a 7th round pick, or we'll pick swap you. You give us a 7th, we'll give you a 6th, something like that. Or even just a late round pick in another year. Like that's fine too. I don't think Lazard should be getting any playing time with the New York Jets. I think we should just be playing the small, like the young guys at this point. Do AG and Muji confer with Woody before making trades? I don't think so. I think it would have to be like a very big player. Like if you were to move Sauce or Garrett, like any one of the big heavy commitment players, like you would probably have to go to Woody and say like, hey, look, Quinnen Williams, this is what we're kind of looking at. He wants to be here, but he's open to being traded. He wants to play for a winner or something. He's going to want more money. I think it's just a good split point. Like those are the types of, big moves. But I think anything lower than that, I would be mad if Woody had to have too much input. I think you got to let the football guys make football decisions. Wild Waves thinks we get pick 5 or 8. According to the Tankathon mock draft, the top 5 picks currently right now would be Mendoza. Then it's the edge rusher from Miami, Bain Jr. The Jets taking Moore, the quarterback from Oregon at 3. Spencer Fano, Utah tackle. Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. So like, let's say we get pick 5 through 8. They don't have another quarterback going after those two until pick 19, which is the Browns' second first-round pick. So they're getting the safety at the top of the draft in Caleb Downs, the Browns are, and then add the quarterback in Ty Simpson at 19. If we're pick 5 to 8 and you're picking the third quarterback on the board, I would be all right with that. They have Lenore Sellers going 21 pick later. Sorry, my eyes just all jacked up right now. Beefy says, I would trade Garrett Wilson for a haul to go get a real number 1 like DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, and Mike Evans, who can block in the running game and hold on to the ball during and after a catch. Yeah, which player is that? Garrett Wilson is a stud. So, Beefy, I'm out on this one. If Titans finish worse than us, they're not in the market for a quarterback unless they trade out or move off Cam. Well, that would be the issue. I think they would be more inclined to trade out of that pick as opposed to making the pick right there. So I would like to finish in front of them. Finishing in front of the Dolphins and Browns and Saints are like kind of my main priorities. And then the Titans would be next. Because like I think the Giants could sit pat. I think the Giants are going to win more games. I think they have a better team right now than their 5th overall pick is kind of indicating. I think the Raiders could be looking for a quarterback too. I think we can go BPA at our pick. Tyson, Jordy Tyson, Arvell Reese with the top pick. In round 2, get a developmental quarterback. Yeah, I would trade up from the second round into the first if we're going quarterback. I don't really want to take a quarterback top of the second because that extra year of contractual control is worth, throwing an extra 3rd round pick or 4th round pick or whatever you got to do, or 2nd round pick in a future year to get the extra year. JJ's a gamer, keep him. So we're giving up on this core? I hope not. I get we haven't won anything with him. Yeah, but I don't want to give up on him. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Boys and girls. Your boy didn't have, I made some picks, And you know what? Did they actually? Who's playing? Is it Kyler or Brissett? I think it's Brissett tonight, right? Let's see. Trey McBride, I got an anytime touchdown. Still hasn't hit that. Lamb and Pickens don't currently have the touchdown or yards. And then I have Brissett under 245 passing yards. I guess if it if it is Kyler playing, which I don't think it is, then Brissett would hit the under. But guys, if you head down into the description, you'll see a link for Sleeper. Get a $100 deposit match up to $100 using code JETSTALK. You think you know football? Then try your turn. Or you think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code JETSTALK and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. We'll see if I'm right. Couldn't pick any Jets, hires, lowers this week because clearly we did not have a game. Look at that. Radimus being a good dude. Throwing the link in the chat. I like you, Radimus. Good guy. Hire John Gruden. Sports gambling is bad, okay? Doing the Mr. Mackey. Okay. I would love to hire John Gruden. I don't think it's going to happen. And it's not gambling if you think you know how to win, right? That's how it goes. Isaiah Russell. Hey, man, don't you love seeing a week that doesn't end with a Jets loss? Yeah, dude, we got 2 weeks in a row of no Jets loss. I'm pumped on that. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw. I made a post today. Pretty cool. Fanatic sent me, me and my wife, Becca, each got a sweatshirt from the Lululemon collection. I've never owned anything Lululemon before, but my caption on my picture that I took today was, "Not listening to the haters, 2 weeks in a row of the Jets not losing." I was nice and toasty in my Lululemon, and I actually enjoyed it. Aha, Ryan, what does tick pick sound like? I see what you're doing there. The Brett Favre reference was a joke because he's sending dick pics. Oh man, Jedi Knight. Sign Breece Hall now. Yes. King of buys. Yes. Myles Garrett contract is crazy. He's not getting moved. What is his contract? I mean, he's not coming to the Jets anyway. It's not, but I think you're just talking about trying to win a game. So his contract, oh yeah, they're not moving him. That would be a shit ton of dead money. Yeah, he's stuck there. He does have options. Oh, so maybe it's one of those weird option contracts where it's still like a dead amount of money, and then once March 27th rolls around, his options due. He might be able to be traded if this contract is what it sort of appears to be. It's not crazy. Cap numbers of 22, 23.6, 27.9, almost 28 million, 30 million. I mean, if I were the Browns, I would just hold on to him at this point, unless there's really a team looking to take on that contract. If the options that he gets paid starting in 2026 do factor into dead cap, oh boy, that is $104 million dead cap hit then. That is Looney Tunes. That would not be getting moved. Do you think Wilk's system could factor in decline in Quinnen? I don't even want to necessarily call it a decline in Quinnen. I think it's just his age and where we're currently at in our roster building phase. Even if Quinnen was having a good year, it would just mean, we're probably more inclined to get a higher draft pick. I don't know if I'm necessarily inclined to keep Quinnen, even if he was playing better. Yeah. Max Mitchell has totally been fine as a 6th offensive lineman, in my opinion. He's exactly what he is. a guy that can fill in for parts of a game. Yeah, if that's what we're getting from him, I'm okay with that. That would have been my Trey McBride touchdown. Come on. Give me it. Keep Breece at all costs. Do you think it was... Yep, I already just said that. Rico. I know we aren't taking Bane, but man, a guy named Bane playing for this team that uses the term Gotham City football, the marketing deals would be nuts. Yeah, that would be a really fun thing to have. Now, maybe I'll be honest, I have not watched Bane at all, so I don't know if he's like some freakish stud edge rusher that we should be considering if the quarterbacks aren't there, and then maybe looking quarterback at the back end of the first like the Giants did. But I would say I'm open to that possibility. I just steer quarterback early. Andrew, what's good, dude? He says, keep everyone and just win out. How hard is that? Right? Yeah. Let's just start winning some fucking games. Garrett Wilson has great catches, but folds late in game. A shame he has had garbage quarterbacks. Yeah, give him some good quarterbacks, and let's just see what he can do. Rob, try to convince me that we'll be good within 3 years. Without trying to convince me we draft a magical savior quarterback. I can't. So much of this hinges on the quarterback hitting. And I don't think... Someone asked me, would you bring in Mac Jones? Absolutely not. He's not a bad option. I just think he's a dick. I don't want him. Screw him. But outside of that, you need a quarterback. You need the magical quarterback. So I'm selling you on hope. If the Jets draft a quarterback number 1, 2, 3 overall this year, I'm selling hope. And I'm taking all the hopium right to my bleeding green. Let's go. Do we make trades before the deadline? I think we're going to be sellers. I think we're going to maybe move Quincy, but that's all I'm going to say. I don't think we're sending anyone else. Paul saying, I'm dreading Miami picking the right quarterback and we fuck it up again. Yeah, unfortunately, we can only control what we can control. Now, the nice thing is they don't have a GM yet. They just fired their GM, so we don't know who their GM is going to be. And 2, I do like what Muji has done so far through the draft. There's certain players maybe I don't know how they're performing yet. But I do think that at least our top end guys, I think Mason Taylor's a stud. I think Membu's a stud. I think A.Z. Thomas is going to be really good. I do like Arian Smith, although in a very limited sample size. I think Malachi Moore could be a player. So at least on the top end of things, I think I have a little more confidence in Muji than I felt like I would, honestly. I'm feeling better about his draft. If your answer is, well, we draft, insert quarterback here, and he is amazing and turns our entire franchise around, that's not happening. I don't think it's necessarily happening in the next year. Could it happen in 2 years? Like Jackson Dart comes in, and he looks to be trending in the right direction. I think the Giants could be seen as a favorable location for young players to go to because they may want to play with Jackson Dart, or maybe they act stable and a head coach wants to go there or whatever. A quarterback that could perform well could make a lot of other things, really, really flip. And league year over year, do I think 2026 is going to be a winner? Probably not. 2027, maybe. But yeah, it's the quarterback though. That's really where it comes down to. If the Jets get 6 to 7 wins and the offense looks competitive, do you think we still need a quarterback? Yes. I would still take a quarterback in that first round. If we finish with like the 6th or 7th pick, you're probably middle of the pack. But that would be asking the Jets to get... We're at 1 win? So what would it be? If we get to 6 wins, we need 5 more wins in 8 weeks, 9 weeks? That feels aggressive. Bigger question, does Wilkes D's system work better with giant lunch pail D linemen and not sleek pass rushing technique defensive linemen? Yeah, I don't necessarily know the answer to that. Do you guys think Dak and Pickens will get me 15 more points in my fantasy dub? I mean, I guess they could, right? Like if Dak throws a touchdown to Pickens, Pickens gets if you're in a PPR, you're talking 6 points plus the extra, like the catch, which is 7, whatever yardage comes into it. Yeah, I think you could definitely do that. And then Dak gets 4 for the touchdown. I think you could see it happen. I think you're good. But they got to start scoring. It doesn't seem like they've done much so far. And their only touchdown is off a blocked punt. So who knows? Steven says, or you trade Will McDonald and use that pick as part of a package to get back up to get Bane. I don't think you're doing it. I don't think you like the Texans move where they draft the quarterback and then go up and get the edge rusher. That feels like it would probably be a little surprising for me. Bane is a bit slow. He might be able to play D tackle. He gets held every single time too. I do not want to spend a top pick on a D tackle. Give me an edge rusher or a quarterback. That's where or even a receiver at that point. I really, actually, receiver in the second round is kind of where I'd like to go. Some of these players have been losing on this team for so many years. I feel they just expect it's going to happen as long as they are here, which is why I feel some of them have to go. Culture change. Yeah, I think you're going to, roughly speaking, year over year, you lose about 30% of your roster. So I think in 2 years' time, like we lost 1/3 of our roster this year. We're going to lose 1/3 next year. We're going to lose 1/3 after that. So if you draft a quarterback this year in 2026, let's say he sits for a year, 33% of that roster is then gone. I think you can win. I really do. And I think when a team is given hope, it changes everything. And I don't think the Jets have that right here. Ryan, what do you want to do here? What do you mean, James? What kind of question is that? That's what I want to know. I don't get it. What do you want to do here? I want to see us win. I want to win some games. Bro, we should sign Jacoby Brissett. No. Jedi Knight. New York Jets is the place quarterbacks come to die. Sam escaped. Geno, with a good staff, was balling. When will we develop and harness a QB's potential? I'm really hoping it's this next quarterback we draft. I'll say that much. I do like Engstrand a lot. Can he develop a quarterback? I have no idea. But I like the offense and I like the pedigree. So, nice kick return. Is Will McDonald stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker as he DM'd? Would we be better served switching to a 3-4 base on our personnel? I mean, he's more of a wide 9 edge rusher. I don't think he's necessarily big enough to be like a linebacker. I think he's just situational pass rusher. He's the guy I would move. I think JJ's got more positional flexibility. I think the Jets should get in the habit of taking quarterback in every draft. Maybe one year it won't be in the first few rounds, but I think you max out your odds of hitting on one. Yeah, like I would like to see the Jets take a quarterback in most drafts. The only issue is like how high of a round are you willing to burn a pick on? Because I would say anything before the 4th round is a pretty significant investment because you could still find starters at like linebacker and guard and safety and, some of these other positions, running back in the 4th round. So I'm okay with doing it. It just depends on where in the draft it is. Who do you want to keep at the deadline? Who do you want to go? I want to keep everyone. I'd be willing to trade Quincy right now. I would be open to trading Quinnen. I just don't know if it's going to happen right now. I think it might have to wait till after the season. We would have a better record with Zach Wilson if Zach Wilson was our quarterback. I mean, we might. Zach Wilson stinks about as much as Justin Fields. At least Justin kind of ran a lot. Chris, hey everyone. Hey Ryan, everyone. Hope all is well. Go Jets. Love you all. Support, subscribe, channel. Oh, thank you. A+ Jets content. I like you, dude. Every week you come in with that. Makes me happy. Any chance to trade Clemens? No. Ryan, are you even excited for Sundays anymore? I'll be honest, I'm not overly emotional one way or the other on Sundays. I'm interested so far as to see, some of the young guys playing and how does Aaron Glenn coach a game. I'm more excited for Saturdays and seeing how the college quarterbacks play and where the Jets could potentially fall. I'm not going to get overly emotionally attached to any win or loss from here on out. Now, if we're sitting, with a chance to get the number 1 overall pick and the Jets beat a resting Bills team the last week of the season, yeah, I'm going to be pretty fucking pissed. But I would say I'm not very excited when it comes to Jets football currently. I'd rather give Engstrand a developmental guy first, let him get experience, and then when the time comes, you can use a top pick on a quarterback. Tanner would have some experience under his belt by then. That's a wild take. I mean, you could see what he has in Brady Cook right now. They did they did bring in a quarterback, and maybe that's something that you can gauge behind the scenes. But I would not pass on a good quarterback if you got one sitting there. We can't trade Clemens. He still has the photos. Yeah, he's got something on Woody. That's why he's not gone. I think I would like to see the Jets start winning some games. Blitz BK, Justin Fields is the project to practice on. I mean, he is, but if he winds up being exactly what he was everywhere else, are you going to ding Tanner Engstrand for that? Now, if he looks better than he did in the past, you can still hold on to him. I would not. There's nothing Justin Fields could show me this year that would override the last 4.5 years of play that he's had. I hate that we had to look at the draft so early this year. I still want to see them play well and develop. We can't draft an entire new team. We need some vets to step up. Yeah, I think Dom and I were talking about the correct path to go down, and that's trading for guys that are, maybe don't fit their teams or have contractual control for 2 more years or 3 more years, throw some late round picks. I'd rather bring in guys that we can at least give some analysis on an NFL field, and then also have the connections in the NFL to say like, hey, why is something not working out here? What did you guys see? All these other scouts in the NFL. I think that's more my side of things. As far as vets, I don't know what vets are going to want to come here. And do I really want a washed up vet? I kind of just want to go young and if we're going to bottom out, just bottom out. We should see some type of improvement or at least the same. Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't look worse. We should see some type of improvement. Let's see. Which player are you talking about? Let's trying to look at the chat. Talking about Fields, I guess. Could Fields be the developmental guy? Maybe. I mean, I guess that's sort of the direction you start to go in. But I would draft the quarterback high and not think twice about it. Boys and girls, it's 9:40 here on the East Coast. I'm still catching up on daylight savings time. I'm a little bit tired. So I'm going to bid you guys adieu, and I'll be back here tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock with the Talking Jets guys, talking a little football. See where your guys' heads are at. Maybe we'll see a trade before the deadline. Who knows? But thank you all for coming out. Hit that like button on the way out. And as always, go Jets.